Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Samavani Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Guru. Jayam Vishnupad, Suri Brajagacharya, Stutara Sri Srimasila, Vaicharnarananda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Patkari Bhakta Vrinda ki, Sotakari Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Prabhus and mothers.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ajit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Mother Soma Bose, from where?
Yes, Prabhu.
Where are you? Where do you stay?
I stay in Tampa. Yeah,
Oh,
Florida.
you are in Tampa. Okay. Good, good.
You met her, Prabhuji. You
I
met
did?
her at Tampa.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. We met Bhashwati Didi's house.
Okay. Thank you for coming. So today, hopefully we'll finish the chapter 7. So let us begin with chapter 7. I think last verse 29. So before we begin, Gita Jayanti is on this Saturday. I do not know how you all are arranging your life. This Saturday is Gita Jayanti, the day, the Mokshada Ekadashi, that Lord Sri Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. So in Alachua, we are going to recite the entire 700 verses, or entire Gita. From 4 o'clock, by 6:30, we'll finish. We do this every year. All, 100 devotee comes and we chant very nicely the entire Bhagavad Gita. So you can link up there, or you can do in your family or in your temple. But please do something on this Gita Jayanti day, this Saturday. A day that Lord spoke Bhagavad Gita, very important. So let us pray to Lord Vasudev to purify our consciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Toto Jayamudirayet Nasta Prayesu Abhadresu Nitam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Mukhaṁ karati vācālam pangulangayate girim jatkripatamaham bande Sri Guru dinatarinam paramananda madhavam Sri Chaitanya Isharam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschat Deshotarine Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is just my request that if you keep a little journal or little notebook, every chapter there are few key points. Whenever you read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita is like a GPS for your day-to-day life. Bhagavad Gita is not the philosophy in the sky. It is actually about your life, how you live a auspicious, wonderful life while you are here, and then eternal forever you will be happy with spiritual world. But we have to, in order to be attracted to Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, we have to keep a little note. So 7th chapter, I mentioned before also, is concerned with three items. This chapter, 7th chapter, we hopefully will finish today. 7th chapter is concerned with 3 items. One is knowledge about Supreme Absolute. What is Supreme Absolute? Who is Supreme Absolute? So first you have to ask, what is Supreme Absolute? Then who fits in that category? That's how Krishna explains. So that's one, knowledge of the Absolute. Second is the process of attaining that knowledge. How we can perceive that absolute knowledge. And third is what will be the result of such attainment. So these 3 things summarize the whole chapter. So what we read, we should see it. I'll tell you a little beautiful story about this chapter. This is from Padma Puran. Of course, when I was reading this other day, I was thinking like, wow, that's very easy. Just by reading this chapter, you can go back to Vaikuntha. Yes, but our goal is not to go to Vaikuntha. Our goal is to go to above Vaikuntha, Golok Dham. Golokanam nini jadhamni talesha tasya devi mahesha haridhami shuteshu teshu te prabhava nichaya vihitascha jena govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Brahmaji, he depicts very vividly about the hierarchies of spiritual world. And over there he says, Golok Dham is above all the dham of spiritual world, in spiritual world. Of course, every ages people would go, like Lord Ram Bhakta, they go to Ayodhya, Vaikuntha Dham, Maha-Vaikuntha Dham, above Vaikuntha. But they cannot go to Golok. No Vishnu Bhakta goes to Golok. Shiva Bhakta cannot go to Golok. Only this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's follower are entitled to go to Golok. That's why it says, Chirat adattam nijagupta vrittam. Chirat means long time it was never given. This is the first time in 4,320,000,000 years. Whew, that's a long time. So we are very fortunate by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada how we came to this. So the story goes very shortly that Lord Shiva speak this to his wife, Mother Parvati. This is from Padma Puran Gita Mahatya. You can read chapter 7, about the glories of chapter 7. Lord Shiva is speaking to his wife. When she asked this, what is the glories of each chapter Lord Shiva narrated. So he says there was a businessman whose name was Shankar Kumar, and he was very miser, but he had one thing. He used to respect his forefathers and fathers, everybody. As a result, he accumulated a lot of wealth. So much so, but not knowing what will happen when you die, when you have so much wealth, but you are not into spiritual life. So he became a preta. Preta means a kind of a subtle body, astral body. You can say vital body. The soul get traps. And he was struggling a lot because as a human body, what you are tasting through the senses, preto body, they want to do that, but they cannot do it. So they suffer. They tremendously suffer. So then he raised his children, but they also became, in India, they call kanjus, miser. Because their father was like this, they also learned like this. And they would not do any spiritual activities, but they struggle for the money. But in Preto Bari, the father, Shankar Kumar, came in the dream to his sons and says, look, I'm struggling for many years since I died. You all do something. And I am, because my attachment to the wealth, with this Preto Bari, I'm still hanging around this. You all don't know that I buried all the wealth behind the house under this tree. So it is there, but I'm guarding it, but I'm suffering. There's no enjoyment and it's very frustration and I'm extremely in pain. So one boy, he was very greedy. Next day morning, they were talking each other and then he went with the shovel and started digging. After some time, a big snake came out. And the snake actually spoke to him. He said, I'm your father, Shankar Kumar. I want you to do something to relieve me. Instead, you just said, what are you doing? He said, I want the wealth so we can enjoy. He said, yes, you will enjoy, but you better do something spiritual, otherwise I'll be suffering. And your end also will be like this. People don't know. Actually, this science is so, they think like it's not important. The modern current situation where you are, your happiness is important. But after that, what happened, most of the people are not familiar in this world. Besides devotee, I don't think anybody discuss even. So then the sons got together and spoke. He said, I want you to invite some devotee, Brahmana, and they can read the Bhagavad Gita, especially chapter 7. I was told that if anybody recite the entire chapter 7, then he will be free from his material bondage. And then if you do Shraddha ceremony to feed the Brahmana Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna devotees, then I will be heading to my ultimate destination to Vaikuntha. So they did. They recited entire 7 chapter and they all went back home, back to God. I mean, he went, not all. He went. He got out of that body. Then he had an opportunity to get a ride on a Vaikuntha airplane and went back home, back to God. One good thing he did, he taught his children that you may not see how the suffering behind the body. You only see the body and the bodily enjoyment right now. But once you die, you have no connection. You suffer and nobody knows. Luckily, I had a way to figure it out by the mercy of one Brahmana. They are conversing as a Preto Bari. I was listening. So I found the way to get out. So don't do this mistake like me. Before he left, he mentioned them. So the children also learned how to serve the Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna people, and recite every day Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. So this is the glory Lord Shiva told to Mother Parvati. That now I'll tell you something, because you heard the story. Lord Shiva said to Parvati that anybody even hears this pastime will get rid of sinful reaction. I'm not saying you have all some sinful reaction, but even if you have, I know I do, that will be out. It's so nice. Just by hearing this pastime, you can get rid of this sinful reaction. So wonderful. So thank you, Prabhus and Mothers. So let us go to 29 sloka. Now 28 sloka, we ended last week by saying Prabhupada's quote that how the process of devotional service or Krishna consciousness is the king of all education, the king of all confidential knowledge. So the process of devotional service ended with text 28 is the king of all education and king of confidential knowledge. Also, it is the purest form of religion. It can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, one should adapt it. So text 29. Who would like to read the sloka and translation and purport? Anyone volunteer? You have a accent. Hey, Philip. Philip, are you still in New York?
Yes, Prabhu,
Okay,
I'm still at
wonderful.
the temple with the devotees. It's white, nice.
Hare Krishna, you look very nice.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Good, 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 good.
All
So,
right.
you want to read? You have the Bhagavad Gita?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is your family okay that you join Hare Krishnas?
I don't. My mom's not spiritual, and my aunt in New York isn't either. But they're also not. I don't know. It's interesting.
Okay, I'll talk to you sometime this week.
Oh, sorry, everybody.
No, that's okay. This is Philip. Everybody knows you are Philip. You are trying to be very serious devotee. He's an IT guy from Orlando, but he joined now in New York Temple. Wonderful. Okay, read it, please.
Jaramarana mokshaya mama shritya yatanti ye tabrama tadvitu krishnam adyatman karma chakilam. Jara, from old age, marana, and death, mokshaya, for the purpose of liberation, me, ashritya, taking shelter of, yatanti, endeavor, ye, all those who, such persons, Brahman, actually that, viduhe, they know, krishnam, everything, adyatmam, transcendental, karma, activities, cha, also, akilam, entirely. Translation: intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahmin because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Purport: birth, death, old age, and diseases affect this material body, but not the spiritual body. There is no birth, death, old age, and disease for the spiritual body. So one who attains a spiritual body becomes one of the associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engages in eternal devotional service, is really liberated. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit. It is said that one should understand that he is Brahman, spirit soul. This Brahman conception of life is also in devotional service. as described in this verse. The pure devotees are transcendentally situated on the Brahman platform, and they know everything about transcendental activities. 4 kinds of impure devotees who engage themselves in the transcendental service of the Lord achieve their respective goals. And by the grace of the Supreme Lord, when they are fully Krishna conscious, they actually enjoy spiritual association with the Supreme Lord. But those who are worshippers of demigods never reach the Supreme Lord and his supreme planet. Even the less intelligent Brahman realized persons cannot reach the supreme planet of Krishna known as Goloka Vrindavan. Only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness, Mam Ashritya, are actually entitled to be called Brahman because they are actually endeavoring to reach the Krishna planet. Such persons have no misgivings about Krishna, and thus they are factually Brahman. Those who are engaged in worshipping the form or arka of the Lord, or who are engaged in meditation on the Lord simply for liberation from material bondage, also know, by the grace of the Lord, the purports of Brahman, Adibhuta, etc., as explained by the Lord in the next chapter.
Very nice. Thank you, Philip. So Krishna is introducing 2 more verses, this one and the next one, in terms of conclusion. So Prabhupada said here, intelligent person who are endeavoring for liberation from old age, that take refuge in me in devotional service. It's very nice. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. So let's see the word-to-word meaning for a few minutes. Jara marana mokshaya. Jara marana mokshaya. Those who understand the miseries of material existence. Jara marana, old age, and death, mokshaya, to get liberation from that. So then question comes, what did they do? Mam ashrita. See, slok, you can break it down. It says, Mam ashrita. They take shelter of me. Janti jatanti je. And they start endeavoring. Now question is, what will happen to them? Te Brahma tad vidhu Krishnam. They are actually Brahma. They know everything. Adhatmam karma chakhilam. They know everything about transcendental activities. So let's put together. So Sri Krishna has introduced 2 words over here, Brahma and Adhatma. And Arjuna will ask in the next verse, what does it mean? So this is another category of devotees. So Krishna has talked about different kinds of devotees who come to him. Krishna has talked about 4 kinds of people who approach him in 16 sloka of this chapter. I hope you all remember. 3 types of devotee are talked about: Artha, Jigyasu, Artharthi. Generally, we see that. People goes to church or synagogue or mosque or temple, mandir. Why? When they feel like they have some duty to do as a religious person. Or they feel like if we pray, then we'll live better life. Or they think next life I'll go to heaven, I won't go to hell. You know, you can literally categorize all these people into 4. Artha means they are looking for something material. Arti means they are in distress. Oh, my mother is sick, she's not getting better, the doctor is not about to cure, let's go to temple and pray. So they come for that reason. They are not coming to serve the God, but they come at least for that reason. And some people comes jigyasu, they want to find out about spirituality. So they come there. There are Gani also, they are inquirer, they want to learn. like even Einstein, he read the whole Bhagavad Gita. I don't know which edition he read, but he came to very good conclusion. Some of his comment, I was paying notice that Einstein said about creation, that he was surprised when he sees the Bhagavad Gita explanation of creation. And he really respected Krishna. From that angle, I saw that. So these four types of people that comes, they are called Shakam Bhakta. Shakam Bhakta means they come to God for some material purpose. Now, just to refresh, 17, 18, 19, we spent a couple weeks, I remember. And 17, 18, 19, they are like Jnana Mishra Devudi. And now 729 is about Moksha Kami Bhakta. Moksha Kami means they are looking for, I want to get out of the material world. I'm tired of life. I want to go to eternal existence where there is no suffering. This idea called Mukti Kami, they're looking for some escape of this suffering, all others. Now, in the next sloka, 8.12, we'll find Krishna will talk about Yoga Mishra Bhakta. Everybody in this world has some different view from you. You'll be surprised that everybody's understanding is little different. It's a unique beauty. But as long as it is aligned with our Acharya's teaching, then it is bhakti. Otherwise, it is mixed bhakti. Some mix, either Jnana mix or Karma mix or Yoga mix, some mix. It's not pure bhakti. So the point here is Sri Krishna is talking about different categories of devotee. There are 5 different categories of devotee, which has been talked about. 2 are Shakam Bhakta, 2 are Mokshakami, and the Mokshakami can be Jnana Mishra, but it's coming primarily with intellectual conception. Or you can say the person with Yoga Mishra. The person will be coming from the background of yogic practice. But they all come to Mam Ashrita, Krishna says, that they all come to surrender to me. They make spiritual advancement when they do that. So now Krishna will introduce one more terms over here, one more set of terms. So let's see the next verse. 30. Who would like to read 30? Any volunteer?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can, if you can share your screen, please. This is Susupa.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
I don't have that out. I have the book.
I can open with the database that I.
Okay. Or if anybody is open, you can read. Ajit Prabhu, are you? He also reads. Let's see if he's there.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can do that.
Yeah, please do.
Sure. Sadhi bhutadhi daivam mam sadhyu yagna chichaye vidu prayana khali api chamam te vidur yukta chetasa. Sa adhibhuta, and the governing principle of the material manifestation. Adhi Daivam, governing all the demigods. Mam, me. Sa adhiyagna, and governing all sacrifices. Cha, also ye, those who. Vidhu, know. Prayana, of death. Kale, at the time. Api, even. Cha, and. Mam, me. They, vidhu, know. yukta chetasa, their minds engaged in me. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigod and of the methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Purport: persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the transcendental association of Krishna consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord is the governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Gradually, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at the time of death, such a Krishna conscious person can never forget Krishna. Naturally, he is thus promoted to the planet of the Supreme Lord, Golaka, Vrindavan. The 7th chapter particularly explains how can one become a fully Krishna conscious person. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. And by his grace, one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, one can really understand the constitutional position of the living entity and how the living entity forgets Krishna and becomes entangled in material activities. By gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association, the living entity can understand that due to forgetfulness of Krishna, he has become conditioned by the laws of material nature. He can also understand that this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness, and that it should be fully utilized to attain the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. Many subjects have been discussed in this chapter. The man in distress, the inquisitive man, the man in want of material necessities, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death, and disease, and worship of the Supreme Lord. However, he who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness does not care person. That doesn't make sense. I think I went over a page. Sorry. Okay. Does not care for the different processes. He simply directly engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness and thereby factually attains his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. In such a situation, he takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord in pure devotional service. He is convinced that by his doing so, all his objectives will be fulfilled. This determined faith is called Dhradha Vrata, and it is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service. This is the verdict of all scriptures. The 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the substance of that conviction.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sadi buthadi daivam mam sadi jagna chaje vitu prayana kale opi cha mam te vidu yukta chetasaha. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation, of the demigods, of the methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Person of Godhead, even at the time of death. I hope you all are aware that you are breathing right now oxygen. That is because Krishna's arrangement through the demigods. You have a electricity, that's also. It is not the electricity company made it. If there is no source of the power, they could not do anything. That's also arranged by the demigod. Sun rises, air is blowing, the rain comes. These are all demigod functions. Demigods are like a life air for the whole universe. So Krishna introduced three terms here again. Sa Adi Bhuta, Adi Daivam, and Sa Adi Jagnam. So very important. Three. What these words are will be question of Arjuna in the next chapter. I hope you can remember. Adi Bhuta, Adi Daivam, and Adi Jagnam. So Krishna will also answer briefly. And then Sri Krishna mentioned further important things here. What did he say? Ajita Prabhu just read. Prayana kale chapi mam. Those who understand me to be Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, and Adi Jagna, such people, they will be well situated even at the time of Prayan Kal or leaving this body. Prayan Kal was referred earlier also. Second chapter 72 verse, I remember we read. If the person is situated like this, then person will attain Brahma Nirvana. So here also Antakal, Prayan Kal, same thing. Sri Krishna is saying, those who know me to be ultimate truth, they will be Jukta Chetasa. They will be well situated at the time of Prayan Kal, or implication is that by that they will attain me. So I would say essentially in this section from 725 to 730, what Sri Krishna told, Sri Krishna is telling his position as supreme. It is not revealed to everyone, but if somebody wants to come to know him, then they have practiced steady devotional service. Steady devotional service when they can practice by giving up sinful activities, do pious activity, become determined in devotional service. By that, they will understand all these things. They will understand Brahman. They will understand reality as Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Jagna. Such people will be well situated at the time of death. And ultimately, they will attain liberation. So first section, how absolute pervades and underlies everything. Second section, how everybody, whatever they are doing, is in some relation with absolute. Defying, obeying, serving, something connected with absolute. Third point, when we surrender to absolute, when we understand absolute as absolute truth, when we understand Krishna to be absolute truth, then we attain supreme auspiciousness or absolute auspiciousness. This is what Jukta Chetasa. So I made a little note here. I'm going to read to you the whole chapter, what we got so far. And because this is the last verse. That our mind, this is just note that I made. Our mind is influential, but it is also influenciable. Renunciation is meant to help us look up at Krishna, not look down at the world. This is very important. Maybe none of you ever do this, but sometime when we join Krishna consciousness, we look down everybody. We are better. We know God. We are leading our life very good. And all these people are dummy fools. They'll go to hell. I mean, I'm not saying none of you think, but it was there in me. I remember. Of course, it changes as time goes by. No. Everybody has a relationship with Krishna. You start to develop that vision. Whenever you see a person, even an animal or ants, you see that every soul has a relationship with Krishna. And second point is that Krishna is in the heart of that soul, always trying best how to bring that soul back. So when we focus on those things, we never look down anymore. Just by saying, don't look down the world, it's not going to work. You have to focus on something. Why we should not look down? Because Krishna is there in their heart. And Krishna always looking for Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gettamam Shantim Prichati. You will be happy when you see that. Then you will never look down anyone. Also, one verse 4, we learned also, I'm just summarizing, just key point on few verses that we read in this chapter, because we are done for this now. The spiritualism is the shadow of spirituality. Spiritualism is the study of spirit, wherein spirit refer to disembodied being, such as ghost. I hope you got my point. So spirituality, on the other hand, is the exploration of the spiritual side of reality, wherein spiritual refer to the non-material. Also, one verse, I think it's 6, we learned that Krishna is the ultimate source and the ultimate resource. Not only source, he is also resource. And Krishna we grasp is different from the God we grasp, who grasps us. We discussed that. This is just a keynote. I always make a little keynote when we study. Also, we read, Krishna does not stand for the absolute. Why? Because he is the absolute. This is very important. To think that, another point also I wrote here, to think that illusions tempting us are new as an old illusion. Also in Prabhupada's purport was very interesting. Culture is meant to channel our curiosity constructively, not destructively. It's very important. Of course, the defining challenge of humanity is to channel our curiosity constructively. And also we have to prevent it from being channeled destructively. That's what it meant. And more we have knowledge about Krishna, will protects and propels. Now at 7.19 we talked, I think the whole class was one day. I remember Praladanda Prabhu was there. Many of you were there. That whole class, that, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, we talked about whole class, I think maybe 1.5 days. That to see Krishna's love through the filter of our desire is to blind ourselves to his love. Be very careful, Prabhus and mothers. So Krishna, not just a shock absorber, but also a goal transformer. And we discussed last week, I hope you remember. We may not know what the future holds for all of us, but we definitely know who holds the future. So when we focus on Krishna, these are the few things. Because sometimes many of us are thinking like, oh gosh, I don't know what holds my future. What will happen when I die? Don't worry. Focus on Krishna who holds the future. Who knows the future, also who holds the future. Because he says this, Vedaham samiti tani vartamanani charjana. Bhavishyani cha bhutani mantu vedana kaschana. Krishna says, I know your past. I know your present. I know your future. So we don't have to wonder about our future, our past, or what will happen, our death. We should know about Krishna. That's all it matters. So this is very nice. Yeah. The conclusion is that of this chapter that some people think that spiritual, when you become a devotee, means you like a jump over the material world or something with all its problems and complications. And that's the only way you reach Krishna. Yes, spiritualists don't want to get caught in this broken world. We are not saying that you should embrace this world so tightly. No, we don't say that. But my point is, if we rush into the world to impulsively enjoy its pleasure or to presumptuously fix things on our own, Prabhus and mothers, we will get entangled. So what should we do? We should understand that Krishna is not entirely separate from this world. We need to love him in the world, through the world, and with the world. This is very important. How do you love Krishna in the world? World comes from him. First focus on that. You know, if you have a description, then discrimination, then determination. Gradual. I was talking to this Bangladesh Bengali Bhagavad Gita class, and I was explaining that I still remember. It's so important because a lot of people think just reject everything in this world, then we are done. We are in spiritual. No, that's not true. Because this world comes from Krishna. And why he gave us chance to be here and take birth as a human form is to mean man to serve. So this world is meant to serve as an arena for each of us, for the soul who are distanced from Krishna to come closer to him. So Bhagavad Gita describes how Krishna is so concerned about this world that he personally descended. Ajopishan abhayatma bhutanam ishwaropishan. Sambhavami atma mayaya. Krishna says, I come here millennium after millennium. Paritranaya sadhunam. So many verses. He repeats that. He wants us to become his devotee, and he wants his devotee also to assist in his mission to spiritualizing the world. So therefore, Prabhus and mothers, we need to serve Krishna in this world by creating resources for engaging with the world in a way that spiritualizes our consciousness. Now, how do you love Krishna through the world? Well, when you face the world's challenge purposefully, we can develop and demonstrate the earnestness of our devotion, of our bhakti. In the crucible of the world's challenges, so our love for God crystallizes from amorphous sentiment to resilient dedication. Okay, I cannot do every day. I fail many times. That's all right. Get up and keep going. Keep on going to reach God. Then the third point is love Krishna with the world. How do you love Krishna with the world? Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada's purport, declares that the world is meant to be offered to God. That means we work in a mood of worship. Whatever you're doing, you're cooking in your house or you're doing a job, act as a worshiper. Okay, in my family, there are 4 people. I'm working, I have a job to serve Krishna's family. Make it into Krishna's family. Okay, I need to earn money. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhalo mando nahi jani, seva matra kori, tomara sangsare ami bishaye prahari. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a song about it. Bhalo mando nahi jani, seva matra kori. I don't know what is good and bad. I'm just your servant. So I have a job. I'm working. And I work there to earn money to maintain your family. Oh, it's not your wife, your husband, your children. No. They are Krishna's devotee. They came as my wife, husband, children, but actually they belong to Krishna. Because when you die, Prabhus and mothers, they will be still here. How they are yours? So they belong to Krishna. They were belong to Krishna before they met you. So you change your vision like this. You see everybody around you, they all belong to Krishna. So you have a service to bring them closer to Krishna. How? By serving them. So whatever you're doing, do it as a work in a mood of worship, using your best talent and resource for his service. So it boils down in returning what is God's to God. In Bible, it says that too. Jesus said, what is God, give to God. What is his name? Krishna, who was there at that time in Bethlehem. He said, what belongs to him, give it to him. It was interesting. The Bible also similar talks is there. I read it, I remember. So our point is, we reach Krishna not by rejecting his world, but by loving him in, through, and with the world. Okay, with that note, we are going to at least begin, we have few minutes, begin the chapter 8. Anybody has any takeaway or question, or we can go to chapter 8 first?
Well, I mean, should we think of the world as like our gym for bhakti? It hurts at first, but that's just to make us stronger in our devotion. That's kind of like how I'm viewing it. You know, hard times help you determine where you're at, and if you fall down, that makes you determine how much more you need to practice, and so on and so forth until you're stable. At least that's like kind of what I took away. Wondering if that's like a good analysis.
Yes, good realization, Philip. That's very true. Because everything belongs to Krishna. We don't have to reject anything. But if we cannot utilize it, leave it there. Go to the next, what you can utilize. And everything belongs to also Krishna, and everything for his pleasure. So we have to look from that angle. So what you said is very correct. Thank you, Philip. That's a very nice takeaway. Mother Sushilpa Devi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the second point that you said, have to love Krishna in the world, and that's because world comes from Krishna. And then you have mentioned why he gave this birth. You were saying to serve, right? And then to come back close to Krishna. So that does that mean that? I mean, I think I realized that I have not been in Golok Vrindavan at all. I've took many, many births, and kind of I'm in this body, meaning kind of advanced in the previous birth, getting closer, and have to use this birth to get even more closer to go to Golok Vrindavan and serve him there, or be with him. Right,
Very
Prabhu?
good.
So it's like,
Yeah, this is very good. Unfortunately, those who miss this human life, you ever wonder why Shastra, even sometimes Shastra really very harsh word they use. Evena bhajile jashoda shuta charame parivelaje. He said, if you in this life as a human being, if you don't worship son of Jashoda, mother Jashoda, then you will put yourself in a big shameful situation. Means you have no idea how to go back to 8 million. When we talk about 8 million is not a choice. Once you are in that track, it's like one life after another, like snake is eating the frog. Well, that's what it meant supposed to be. It's not a fault of the snake, and snake does not commit any sin. There's no sin of eating. When lion is eating the deer, that's what is supposed to. And they go life after life after life. 8 million life to come to this human. And then when we come to human, we don't give any importance. It's so sad. So that's why devotees are desperate to awaken that awareness within the living entity. But it's working. Like this boy, Philip, just was walking on the New York and he found the devotees and he just joined. Look at, now he's in temple. So slowly, people are getting connected. Not that you have to join in the temple, but you have to be connected and stay where you are, but elevate your consciousness, elevate. Keep on uplifting. So thank you, Mother Sushilpa. That was very good.
Prabhuji,
Yeah, go ahead, Mother.
and that coming out from Krishna, is it as described in Bhagavatam, like from the breath of Krishna? Well, from the
You mean
breath of Vishnu.
our origin coming to this material world?
Correct.
That itself is a big topic, but in a short way, we came from the Tatastha region, a marginal where we misuse our free will. I go by the reference, Jiva Nama Tatastaka Eka Shakti Hai, Mahasankarsan Sarva Jivera Ashray. Chaitanya Chaitamrita says that Tatastha Jiva, they misuse the free will. They wanted to explore the allureness of illusory energy. Allureness is like a, affinity. Like, what is that? Let's see. That's it. If I take a poison, oh, really? It kills? Let me see. And I take the poison. Is it somebody's fault? Why they made the poison? Why they sell poison? You can blame like that. You tried, you said, let me see if it really kills. Well, you're already dead now. Now if somebody's, accused why it kills, that's what it's supposed to do. So we misuse our free will. I mean, one guy, he literally got so angry and the police was chasing. This is right here in Florida. And he got so mad because he had a fight with his spouse. And he just ran through somebody's private fence backyard. And he just broke the fence and just went through that. He went completely wild. Of course, he eventually got caught by the police. And then now he had to work so hard to pay off all this fence repair, this, that. And was very interestingly, his brother called me and says, this happened. I say, interesting. So ask him, how is the misuse of free will affects in life? who told him to get angry and, break the fence up because police is chasing. So it's very difficult to say. It's very difficult because free will, misuse of free will is built in free will. I mean, in my own word, I mentioned this many times. In the country life, in Alachua, sometimes there is no car visible early morning, 4 o'clock. So I thought there is no car, nobody is there, early morning, 4 o'clock, you will see the headlights. So no car. It did not say slow down and go. It says stop, S-T-O-P, bold, the sign, stop sign. But I slow down and then go. Then all of a sudden, after 2 minutes, I see the flash, red flash, blue lights. I get a ticket and I'm thinking like, why didn't I stop? I went through like a plastic, like a few hours. Why did not I stop? What was that in me did not stop? I asked many times to myself, why didn't I stop? I know how to read STOP. I know DMB. I have a license. I graduated from DMB license. So what it was in me? So you can say it's an assumption that nobody is there. You will not get caught. So these are the symptoms of misuse of free will. The choice is that you stop at the stop sign. But choice is there that you can break that. You don't have to stop at the stop sign, even though it says you should stop. So I see that misuse of free will already built in free will. So we broke. Prabhus and mothers, don't blame anybody why you are in the material world.
So that's Tatastha Jivi is not in Golok Vrindavan, right, Prabhu? It's
correct. But for an example, I was looking at the other verse. It is not exactly like this. When you have time, mother, you look at Adilila chapter 5, text 18. Where is Golok Vrindavan? If you have access, you can open right now and look at it. Actually, Golok Vrindavan is misunderstood sometimes. Golok Vrindavan is the biggest, all-pervasive. Golok Vrindavan is not a, top or tip of the hierarchy in spiritual map or something. Even though, that's how we do see the drawing. We cannot deny it. In the drawing, you see there is a Viraja, then Vaikuntha, then Golok, So yes, in the map we see like this. But if you look at that verse, it says Sarvaga Ananta Vibhu Krishna Tanu Sama. I remember that. Upori Ada Bepiache Ananta Ashima, something like that. That verse says, if you open it, you can read the translation. That it is actually all pervasive. Everything covers. Everywhere is Golok. So within Golok, just like if you imagine the unlimited creation is one big palace. Within the palace, like a lower floor has some rooms, separate individual rooms. These are like Vaikunthas. And then you have a ground floor is like a maybe Brahman, Biraja, like this. And then there is a dungeon or what do you call underground. They call sometimes garage, under garage or like this. This is like a material world, dark. So in one sense, everything is within Krishna's creation. But in your house, okay, don't take it personally, but in your house there is also cockroaches sometimes. And you may not find it, but once in a while you may find it. Actually, one of the easiest way to find, if you put some cramped food left over on the table, you will see it attracts the ants or roaches. From somewhere they appear. So I understand why Prabhupada said always house should remain clean. Then you don't have all these things comes. Even they come, they don't find anything, they go away. So Now, the cockroaches living in same house you are living, but is both getting the same benefit? No.
No.
You are reading Bhagavad Gita. I don't think cockroaches has any idea what is that means. But in one sense, both are living in the same house.
Right.
It makes sense? So
Yes.
when we talk about spiritual world, not necessarily is a physical location. It's another level of reality.
Hmm.
We go to spiritual world, we have a spiritual body, but then material world will disappear in front of us. Or is it like a somewhere physical? No, it's not a physical location. Actually, there's unlimited space. It's all spiritual. But spiritual body we cannot see with this material eye. So like this, like Prabhupada in New York, he said, I can see Vaikuntha. Now, when I went to New York many times, even I went a couple months back, I didn't see any Vaikuntha. And I see like subway, all this crazy thing. Especially where Prabhupada said that Bawari area or 22nd Second Avenue is like it's like a little jungle of poor neighborhood. Of course, nowadays everything is expensive there too. So it's different, but Prabhupada saw Vaikuntha, so it's different. I hope it makes sense to you.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Somen Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Yeah, so Prabhu, actually you told that in 7 point that there are some Sakam Bhakta. So Sakam Bhakta that they are actually that another category has been discussed here, like 7.29. That's those are the Mokshokami, like those are like attaining that they are actually asking for the liberation. So they are in that sense they are also be Sakam, right? They are actually asking that to come out from this material bondage and miseries from this material world. So will that be also like Sakam Bhakta, because they are trying to liberate, and that's why they are actually do that things. So
this is very interesting. The way you put it, yes, it is, Prabhu.
Yes.
Because Mokshakami, in India also I saw many people, they're called Muktikami, they are Mukti Dham, all kinds of address. Beside Hare Krishna's, hardly anybody talks about Bhakti Seva. You know, Bhagavan Seva, Bhagavat Seva. But there is a dham near Bihar, I forgot. It's called Mukti Dham or something. Anukul Thakur also has a Mukti Dham, this, that. But these are nothing with our spiritual identity. It's just get out of the material world.
Yes.
But that doesn't solve the problem. We want to be happy in our service, original status. The happiness is important. Prabhu, when there is an emergency, so fire. Now running away not to get burned is good idea.
Yeah.
But if you run away and live there by itself without eating, sleeping, I don't think you will be happy. Your misery will start again. Before misery was fire. Now misery is hunger.
Yes.
So it's like a mukti is not the solution. It's an illusion, another form of illusion.
Yes. And
So
also, you also described that Mokshokami, they can be categorized into two forms, like Jnana Mishra and Yoga Mishra.
yes. Because Jnana Mishra means they are kind of dwellings in it. And they kind of become a limbo. You know, they get out of the material, but they don't have access to the spiritual. So they are limbo in the, limbo like a vegetable, like they are not awake, they are not dead. It's very uncomfortable also.
Yes.
It's not a very pleasant place.
Yes.
Any idea without serving, loving service with God, it's all really ultimately destructive. It doesn't satisfy the soul. We want to love and feel loved. This is the bottom line. Jiva Sukhanyashi. You cannot give up any philosophy, Prabhu,
Yes.
that denies our happiness experience. You should reject that philosophy, period. Because Jiva Sukhanyashi, pleasure seeking by nature.
Yeah.
God is Anandamaya Bhas. Who is Krishna? Who is God? Anandamaya Bhas. From the tip of his toenail to the tip of hair is a condensed form of bliss, Ananda. Anandam, Nartanam, Kirtanam. These are the Brahma Samhita explained. Vaishnavism means they give a soul's definition. Soul wants happiness. Krishna is always happy. Krishna is eternally happy. He always, when you are happy, what do you do? This is when you are happy, Anandam, and Nartanam, Kirtanam. You sing, dance, joyful. You don't know how to walk because you are so joyful. You're just walking like a dancing.
Yes.
And you don't even talk ordinary. You're just singing always. That's why it says in Brahma Samhita, Kathaganam nattam gamanam api bangsi priya saki. Kathaganam. Katha is gan, means song, singing.
Yes.
Kathaganam, naitam. Naitam means dancing. That's what spiritual life is. In spiritual world, all the people, unlimited people, they're always dancing, singing, glorifying, such a joyful. And here is like we get tired. Our body like dictates, hey, go to sleep. And we think we are the body. Yeah, Prabhu, I'm tired. No, you're not tired. Your body is tired and you identify body as a self.
Yes.
This is difficult. Thank you, probably bringing that point.
Yes,
So next week, we are going to start chapter 8.
Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, in 8.12, you actually mentioned, Prabhu, that Krishna says the Yoga Misra Bhakta, they are the most elevated souls, right? That they are the best of kind of the devotee, right?
8.12.
Yeah, Yoga Misra Bhakta.
We will discuss that when we come there. They're not the most advanced devotee.
Advanced devotees, okay.
Not most, but they're better.
They're most, okay.
Than the other, yeah. Thank you. Prahladananda Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhuji, Adanvar Pranam. Just a slok came to my mind. Akam sarva kamo va moksha kam udarde tivrana bhakti yogena yadit param. So, akam or sarva kam, our goal is to do tivra bhakti and everything will be covered, right?
Yes.
Haribol.
Very good. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udarati. Tivrena bhakti yogena jajeta purusham param. Yes, one should be encouraged to serve Krishna, whatever desire they have, whether they want liberation or they have material desire. This is very nice sloka. Thank you, Prabhu. Philip, you have raised hand.
Yeah, you said bring people closer to God by serving them. And I actually was wondering, is it possible to bring people closer to God just by the quality of our service, even if we're not explicitly preaching the name of God? Like I'm wondering how much can our actions affect people's amenity, willingness to come to God consciousness, even if we're not expressly saying his names to them, say like in work situations and things like that.
It's a big deal, actually. You said a very important thing, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Dharma sthapan hetu sadhur vyavahar. The behavior, attitude of devotee will actually give an impression to the others how attractive Krishna consciousness is. And they will be attracted. Just like that girl at the grocery store put $5 from her bag to pay for the Sunday feast grocery shopping that Prabhupada did. Prabhupada had no idea, because in India they bargain when you buy things. So Prabhupada didn't have any help. He was cooking for the people that he's inviting from the street. And it was $7.50. So Prabhupada took some coin from his, he didn't have a wallet, he nuts, in a dhoti, uttariya. And he opened it, he gave $2.50. He said, this is more than anybody would give. Now, Prabhupada didn't have a probably understanding that in America, they don't bargain in the grocery store. When you go to grocery store, you don't bargain. Whatever register, the electronic figure says, you pay. So I said, sir, it says $7.50. And Prabhupada said, yes. But Prabhupada didn't have money either. He had $8 when he came to America. That's it, 40 rupees. Those days, $8 transformed. And he was running entire program with that. I don't know how. Don't ask me how he was running with $8. And he bought the groceries in the basket and it's $7.50. But the girl is so wonderful. It's a Western body girl at the grocery store checkout place. So she went under to reach her own purse. She opened it. And then she shown $5 to Prabhupada. He said, I am paying for you. You can go now. So Prabhupada said, thank you. After 40 years, she remembers the Prabhupada's kindness. There was some attraction she felt. And she came back. Now she's chanting. She's an old lady now. And she's chanting and she cried for Prabhupada. It was like, wow. How much effect just little gentle sadhu's behavior in a meeting that attracted that soul after that many years. So definitely the way we behave, the way we talk, it affects others, Philip. Definitely. It is important.
Thanks for the answer. Appreciate it. Haribo.
Thank you. Okay, so we end here. We'll look forward to see you all next Wednesday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpataru vishya kripa sindhubheva. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.